no one's going to hire a part-time lawyer or a part-time doctor, right?
Yeah.
So why hire a part-time realtor?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Reni. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I really appreciate each and every one of you taking your time out of your busy day to watch this video. So today, obviously, you can tell that I have a special guest on my channel, and this is Tunde. He is my realtor. So, you know, many of you came to my channel because you know that I bought my first house at the age of 23, and lots of you have asked me who my realtor was, so I decided to bring him on the channel. So this one will be about the process of working with a realtor and how you can actually become a realtor if you want to, and just how the professional experience is as a realtor. And then the next one will be about the market trends and the process of buying a house. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll start right now. So first, I'll throw it over to you to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Tunde Abiodun. I'm a real estate broker. I work out of Home Life Power Realty, which is in Kitchener. My business is broken into three parts. I specialize in the residential part. I also do a lot of rentals, and then the third part of my business, the commercial side, is into multifamily acquisitions and sales. I like the three parts of my business because it allows me a lot of variety. The third part of my business is run as part of a partnership. I have three partners. We're called a 4M Commercial Group. We cover pretty much everywhere from Windsor right through to Kingston or beyond Ottawa.
Oh.
And then we also go up north past Aurelia. So I'm quite busy, and I really appreciate Reni for having me on this program today. Thank you very much, Reni.
Thank you for coming on the channel. And I didn't know that there were three parts of your business, so I'm sure I'll learn a lot from this video. So we have a lot of questions that everyone on Instagram submitted, and if you're not following me, make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, so that you can submit your questions for all the videos that I do in the future. The first question that I'll ask you is, what is the actual role of a realtor? Like, why do I need a realtor?
You need a realtor because a realtor adds value to the process. When you're purchasing a home or selling a home, it's a very emotional situation. Mm-hmm. You might have certain things you've done to your house that have value to you, but a buyer, it really doesn't mean anything to that person. And the fact that you spend $50,000 or $100,000 purchasing that thing doesn't necessarily translate into money you're going to extract at the end of the sale. So a realtor in this process gives you that objectivity that you need. That's just on the listing side. On the buying side, in many cases, a buyer shows up at a property and all they see is the house. They see the features of the house.
Yeah. But
a realtor is looking at what's around it. Why are so many trucks in the backyard? Why is that? Why so many old cars down the street? The buyer is looking at this house and thinking, I love this house so much. I'm looking at it and saying, when it comes time to sell, are you going to be able to sell this house? Mm-hmm. Will people be interested in this? Now, this feature that's in the house, is it something that makes sense to you? So that objectivity is very necessary. Mm-hmm. That aside, there are things that realtors get to see that buyers never, the client doesn't get to see. So we have access to market information. I know what the comps are. I know what the last house sold for. Mm-hmm. I know if there was a bidding war on that house. There are things that you, the client, would never know. Mm-hmm. So that's the value of a realtor.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And obviously I used you to purchase my house, and you're right. I liked every house that we saw. I was like, ooh, this is nice, this is nice, this is nice. And then you would be like, did you notice this, this, and this? So yeah, there's definitely a lot of value in working with a realtor. And I hope that you all decide to work with a realtor when you all purchase your first houses. Or
I certainly hope so too.
Another question that we have is, what is the right time to approach a realtor? So say I have no money and I just am like, I want to go look at houses. Is that a good time to approach you?
You've decided you want to purchase a home. At that point, contact me, because at that point, I'm going to ask you certain questions. I'll have a rough idea of how much you have in hand, what kind of house you're looking at, what it is you're trying to do with this house. Luckily for me, through you, Reni, I've got a lot of those calls from some of your friends.
Love that.
And I appreciate, because we are able to steer them in the right direction at this point. For example, I will connect them to a mortgage broker. A quick dry run of their finances are done at this point, and we're able to decide, this is what you need, this is how much you have in hand, this is what you need to put together, in order to make this happen. So I always say, try and get a hold of me as before you start the process, or at least have some money before you start. That way we're able to work hand in hand, because the thing is, you might have a plan to be 6 months out, but I know you have the money to do it, say 5 months in or 4 months in. At that point, I'm able to say to you, you know what, this just came up. You have this. We can structure the closing in such a way that it actually falls in line with what your long-term objectives are. So that's the advantage of it. I don't like to see my clients in a situation where, I wish you told me something. This happened. This came. It was like when you purchased your property. It came out at the right time. You were ready. We'd looked at a lot of properties, and then when this one showed up, we knew it was the right fit for us, and it all worked out well.
Yes, it worked out perfectly. And I think one thing you mentioned was the fact that a realtor is able to connect you with other professionals, so mortgage brokers.
Yes.
I think that's very important, and a lot of people don't think about those things, but that's one of the added values or benefits of working with a realtor. So now I know that I need a realtor and I should work with a realtor. How do I actually choose a good one?
It's a multi-pronged process. This business is highly regulated, as with any other professional business, any other profession. We belong to a body, the Real Estate Council of Ontario, which is called RECO. So the first place you want to start is take a look at RECO. Go onto the RECO website and just search on the person's name. If there are any complaints against that person, you'll certainly see it there. If there are past judgments against them, you'll see it there. One thing you want to do is make sure the realtor is a full-time realtor. There are a lot of part-timers out in our business, and from experience, I find they do more damage than good.
Oh, really?
No one's going to hire a part-time lawyer or a part-time doctor, right?
Yeah.
So why hire a part-time realtor? At 11 a.m. you want to view a property. You should be able to call me, and I'm able to show you that property. Not say to you, let's look at it at 6 o'clock when I've finished my full-time job.
Yeah.
What's the point? I suspect a lot of the subscribers watching this would want to work as a realtor or think about it as a profession. If you are going to go into it, please plan to go into it full-time, because anything that you do regularly and on a full-time basis, on a professional basis, you tend to get better at.
Did you start part-time and then go full-time, or you just went full-time?
I went full-time. My background is information technology. When I got tired of that business, I decided it was time to try something else. I'd been an investor as an employee, so that kind of started my interest in this profession. So before coming to it, I was already an investor. So that's a good background. That was the best way for me to get into this business. And I've been in it now 17 years, and I always say to people, I haven't worked a day in the last 17 years. Why? Because I enjoy what I do.
Oh, I love that. And one last question. I don't know if I prepped you on this one, but how much does it cost to use a realtor?
Okay. As a seller, that side of the business is called a listing. The contract actually outlines how much I'm going to charge you. This fee is usually a percentage of the sale price of the house. A typical number is a total of 5%. It can go up or it can go down. Now, typically this 5%, and I'm just using this as a hypothetical number, is usually split between this listing agent and the selling agent. So it might go 2.5 points each way. That's what this seller pays. A buyer, on the other hand, really doesn't pay me. It's the seller that pays me. But in a roundabout way, it's the buyer that pays me, because the money I'm paid is from the proceeds of the sale. But to use a buyer, to use an agent to assist you in buying a property, it costs you $0.
So if someone wanted to work with you for it was like a 6-month long process where they're just looking for a house, you don't get paid until that final closing.
No, this is one of those jobs where
Wow.
you work until a deal gets done, you don't get paid.
Wow.
Every other profession is able to charge you something. I could drive from here and there, across the whole of Ontario. Not that I usually do, but it's very easy to fall into that. You'd find the person that falls into that is usually somebody new in the business. And sometimes you don't mind doing it, because I believe nothing is ever lost. Every place I've been to in my business has been a learning process for me. It's something that I've been able to keep as a milestone, to say, you know what, I know of this town, I know about this place. It kind of increases my knowledge. So nothing is ever lost. And then the funny thing about it is, a lot of those tough clients tend to be your best referral sources. So I never write anyone off. I think people tend to know when they're taking advantage of you. And if it ends up with a good result, people end up referring, and referral is the lifeblood of our business.
And I will refer him to all of you. So I will leave his contact information in the description box if you want to contact him. And so do you cover, so you said from Kingston to Windsor, your team covers. So if they're looking for a property anywhere in those regions, they can reach out to you?
Absolutely. The beautiful thing about the MLS, the way it's set up for agents, is if you were looking to sell a house in Kingston, for instance, I wouldn't necessarily list your house, but I have partners out in outlying areas that would list your house. If you were looking for a house within like a 3-hour radius of where I work from, chances are I'd probably go, because I have access. I know what the comps are. I know everything about what I need to know. But if you had to list a house, I'd rather partner with somebody who's knowledgeable and has been vetted, or someone I've worked with in the past. But one thing I do enjoy as part of my business, I love traveling, I love driving. I do a lot of thinking when I'm driving. So for me, it doesn't matter how far I drive sometimes. So that's what makes at least myself, as well as my team, very valuable to most of our clients.
Okay, so I hope everyone's listening. You do not pay directly for a realtor. They have so much expertise and they can connect you with other professionals. So why wouldn't you hire a realtor to sell or to list or purchase a house? So the next few questions that we have are all about a realtor's career. So a lot of people in my last video were asking about how they can become a realtor if they wanted to. So we just have a few questions about that, and we'll go into them right now. The first question is, what was the process like for you to be registered and certified as a realtor?
Okay. Back then, 17 plus years back, you had to take 3 exams. It was phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Now, those exams, I believe, were spread out over an 18-month period. I think I did all mine within a year. As you finish once you pass phase 1, and you pass phase 2 as well as phase 3, we entered into an articling period that was a 2-year process where you actually started working as a sales rep. But in that time, you were studying to take your exams to get your commercial accreditation. Now, once that was done, after the 2 years, now you were considered a proper agent, but you were still able to do business in that articling period. What I did for myself was I then went a step further to get my broker's license, because initially after the first 3 exams, you're just a sales rep. I then took the extra exams to become a broker.
So what's the difference between them?
A broker's exam allows you to understand how to run a brokerage.
Okay.
A brokerage is a very complex enterprise in the sense that you have to be lawyer, you have to be a banker, you have to be careful not to be a money launderer. There's so many aspects to this business. You have to understand when money comes into the brokerage, how it flows through. There's a sequence because investigators can actually come in and ask to look at your books. If things are out of line, you actually get fined. So you have to have specialist training to be able to do this. Now, is the job of a broker different from a sales rep? No. It's just a specialized training that you have, that understanding. And then as well, you can actually manage a brokerage when you are a broker.
And do you have any advice for new realtors that are just starting out?
The starting point is, as you're taking the exams, start building your database, because it's a database. Your sphere of influence is where you're going to start from. People that you know, people who know you, people you've done things with. Those are the people you want to talk to at first. You want to compile a database. Chances are your first few days in business, if you sit with your broker of record, he's going to ask you to compile a database. So if you've already started one, no matter how ridiculous that person is, just put it on the list. I remember when I started this business, my first deal was with someone who ended up becoming my dry cleaner for about 12 years. I sold her a house, through an open house. But you build up your client list that way, because that's really where you start from. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you treat it as a marathon and not a sprint. There's this misconception in our business that, realtors make a lot of money. Some do. Well, you'll find that 80% of the money in this business is made by 20% of the realtors. And how do you get into that 20% of realtors? It comes from hard work, dedication, years in the trenches. I'm 17 years in this business now. I'm actually now just getting the return from seeds that were planted 12, 15 years ago. It's not that they didn't want to do business with me. It's just at that time, the opportunity didn't present itself. Now it presents itself. They still look up and I'm still there. I've made successes in other places. They call you. So treat it as a marathon. And then more than anything else, keep your integrity intact, because that's very important in this business. A home, or at least a piece of property, is more than likely most people's largest financial commitment. Why mess that up for that person?
Yeah.
So it's very important that your integrity be intact. There are lots of opportunities to cut corners. I will advise you, don't do that. Just spend the time, do the right thing, and just act as if somebody's looking over your shoulders. And that's the way to succeed.
Yes, have some morals. A lot of people who watch me are university students who want to become realtors. So a question that somebody asked was, if I am currently if I know for sure that I want to become a realtor and I want to do it full time, do I still need to complete my university degree or even go to university?
If you're already doing the degree, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, I know for myself, if I were in that situation, I know it will chew away at me if I didn't complete that degree. We live in a time now where most of us are going to do 2 or 3 careers, right? Why not have one at least under your belt before you think about the next one? And then the good thing is that one you have under your belt could actually be a prerequisite for something else you want to do. My 3 partners, one's a professional engineer, one's a used to be a marketing executive, and one used to run a trucking company. So when you think about it, each of these persons actually brings a certain skill set into what we're doing. Had they not completed that training or gone through the rigors of what they had to do, how would we add value to one another? My background is in information technology. When you start to add up all these skills and the things you bring into the total process, you realize that value add is there. Yeah. I'm always a believer in leveraging everything that you have around you. So definitely complete that degree.
Yeah, go to school, kids. So this is, I guess, your personal opinion, but do you think that real estate is a career that will always be around, or do you think it will be replaced by some technology one day?
I never say nothing is impossible. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Uber ran taxi companies out of business. Now, does that mean they're still not drivers? People still have to drive those cars. Is the business going to go in another format? Possibly. But I think the human component is still going to be part of that, of the business. So yes, can change happen? Absolutely. We welcome change. I mean, prior to COVID-19, no one would believe we'd be able to function without going into an office once a week. Now we've gone a year plus without going into an office, and life still goes on. So absolutely, anything can happen. But I still think there will still be that human part to the business. So yes.
Okay. And then our last question for this video is, are there any books that you would recommend to real estate agents, or anyone in general, just to learn about the real estate market?
Two books that I really have spent a lot of time in. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That book I found, and I'm sure a lot of people have subscribed to it. It's one good way just to help change your thinking. And the next one that especially my business partners and I really believe in is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You don't realize how much you can gain from just thinking about a situation long enough and bouncing ideas, brainstorming with other people around you. Many things get opened up.
Yep.
So those two books definitely. Now, I found in my business, it's very tough because of my schedule to actually sit down and read a lot. So lately, I've been depending a lot on YouTube. There's just so much wealth of information, so much to learn.
Online. Well, thank you. I thank you for answering all my questions. I hope this was helpful to everyone. And in the next video, we will be answering questions, or not I will be answering. You will be answering questions about market trends, what you need to know when you're buying your first property, and all those questions. So make sure that you watch part 2. And once part 2 is loaded, I will put it up here. So do you want to plug yourself one more time?
If you go on the internet, if you can't remember my website name, just type Tunde Real Estate Kitchener. I'm the only one with that name now,
Yeah.
At least in real estate in Kitchener, Waterloo, that I know about. Again, my website is tundesellskdub.com. And again, as I alluded to, the other part of my business is the multi-family purchases and sales, and I run that out of the 4M commercial group as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I will leave all of those details in the description box and hopefully on the screen as well, just so that you don't forget any of them. And yeah, thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. And remember guys, watch part 2. It's coming up soon. And yeah, have a great day, and make sure you comment below what you want to see next. And if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out to him directly.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much for having me on, Reni.
Thank you. Bye.